Okay, so now we're going to show you how to find equations from graphs. This is an exponential graph, and this is a log graph. So first we start off with y equals a to the x plus c. So if you remember from sketching a graph, c is the one that shifts the graph up and down, because a to the x is just a graph like this with an asymptote of 0. Therefore c will usually give us the asymptote of the graph. So here we know our asymptote is -4. So this graph must have been shifted down 4. Shifted down 4 by c. So c must be -4 from this asymptote. Okay, so that's point 1. So now we know y equals a to the x minus 4. Now, how do we figure out a? Well, we just need to sub in another point. Let's try -3. So that would be x is 0, y is -3. Let's try subbing in 0, -3. So let me grab tissue and blow my nose. Okay, back. Okay. So let's sub in. So remember, this is the x value and this is the y value. Sometimes we can get confused. If -3 equals a to the 0 minus 4. Okay, this is the x. So therefore 1 equals a to the 0. But we know a to the 0 equals 1, so we get 1 equals 1. That does not help, does not help. So sometimes subbing in a point where this x becomes 0 is actually completely useless. You end up with something like 1 equals 1. So we need to try a different point. Let's sub in this one. This is 2, 0. Sub 2, 0. So again, this is x and this is y. So subbing in this point 2, 0 into our equation over here, because we're trying to find a. So we sub y is 0 equals a to the 2 minus 4. Therefore 4 equals a squared, and therefore a equals plus minus square root of 4, which is plus minus 2. Now, can a actually equal -2? Can it? Can it really? Really? No, because exponentials, you don't get an exponential with a minus in front of it like that. You can have an exponential where it's minus a to the x, but you can't have a minus a to the power of x exponential. So we know it can't be a -2, therefore a equals 2. Okay? So our equation in its entirety is y equals 2 to the x minus 4. And that makes sense with our asymptote. That makes sense with this point as well. We sub in 2 into x, where 2 squared minus 4 equals 0, which becomes y equals 0. Perfect. So let's compare with a log how to do it. Again, the easiest thing to get is the asymptote. So how do we get the asymptote in logs? Remember, that's when this thing in the inside equals 0. We make x plus a equals 0, and then we figure out what x is. And that tells us the equation, because we know it can't equal 0. Because you can never have log 0. Log 0 equals bad. Unsmiling face. Unhappy face. That's not unsmiling face. So, we can't have x plus a equals 0. But we know when x equals -8, it's an asymptote. So we can sub that in. -8 plus a must equal 0. This must be this entire thing must equal 0 for an asymptote. Therefore, if we sub in -8 into there, into x, how do I explain this again? For an asymptote, x plus a must equal 0. Okay? Now I know the asymptote occurs when x is -8, so we just sub that point in. And therefore a equals 8. So y equals log 2 of x plus 8. Okay, so that's the first part. Now we have c. So we can sub it in a different point. I feel like subbing in this point because I like subbing in y-intercepts. They're much easier to do. So that's when x equals 0 and y equals 2. So we sub that in. 2 equals log 2, 0 plus 8. Be very careful, always sub in the correct values. The 0 is the x and the 2 is the y, so we put it there. And now we just have to solve this. 2 equals log 2 of 8 plus c. So I see this log 2 of 8. I'm going to 2 to the power of what equals 8? 3. 2 equals 3 plus c. Therefore c equals 2 minus 3 equals -1. So our equation for this graph is log 2 of x plus 8 minus 1. I can check with minus 6. Yeah, that works. I'll sub it in for you just to show you that that works with that minus 6. So we know y equals 0. Sorry, forget that. We'll just do y equals, we just sub the minus 6 and we should get y equals 0. So minus 6 in there, you get log 2 of minus 6 plus 8, which is 2 minus 1, which becomes log of 2 minus 1. And log 2 of 2, 2 to the power of what? Equals 2, 1. So we get 1 minus 1, which equals 0, which is perfect, because therefore our point is minus 6, 0. So that's how you do finding the equations of graphs. You just look at the intercept. Step 1 is intercept to figure out this value, and then you sub in one of the other points that you know. Okay, cool.